Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade has Indiana Jones looking for his father, Henry Jones Sr., while the Nazis are going after the Cup of Jesus Christ. So, Indiana Jones's father is played by Sean Connery, and fun fact, Sean Connery and Harrison Ford are only 12 years apart, so it actually shouldn't work for Sean Connery to be Harrison Ford's father, at least with the actors' real age. Sean Connery was born in 1930, Harrison Ford was born in 1942, that's 12 years apart, but they got Sean Connery for the role because Indiana Jones was based off of James Bond, and who else to get better to play Indiana Jones's father than Sean Connery, who played James Bond back in the 60s. So, the positives on this film are Indiana's origin story is pretty cool. I like how he gets chased by some people on the train, and on that sequence it shows how he got his scar, and how he got his whip, and how he got his hat, so I really like that. It also shows how he got his fear of snakes, so it was just a fun sequence, and it was just a fun origin for Indiana Jones, for this iconic character, for, at this point, 3 films. I think the action is pretty solid in the movie. I don't think it's as bloody as Raiders, and I don't think it's as intense as Temple of Doom, but I think it's still solid. I like the boat chase going in between ships. The motorcycle chase is pretty cool, especially when Indiana Jones sticks a pole into one of the wheels, and and that motorcycle just flips up and explodes. I like that. And the tank battle is pretty solid. I think the effects and stunts are still cool and look good because it's done with real people and real props. It's done practically in this film, so that makes the stunts and action pretty exciting and just really cool to watch. I think the movie tells a pretty engaging story. I like it that Indiana is looking for his father instead of for fortune and glory. So that's interesting. And the last positive is it has a satisfying conclusion to the Indiana Jones franchise. It makes for a good final chapter in the series. If it was the final chapter in the series. That's it for positives. On to the mixed. This movie follows too closely with Raiders of the Lost Ark to a degree. Indiana goes on an adventure looking for a religious item, or in this film, I guess he's actually looking for his father in this, but then the Nazis are in pursuit of the religious item. Indiana Jones has to stop them, and also the religious item kills the Nazis in both films. So very reminiscent of Raiders of the Lost Ark. However, it does enough things differently. It's different action, different types of action, but the story still feels kind of the same like Raiders of the Lost Ark. So I feel like I kind of just watched this movie 2 movies ago, so I kind of feel like I know where this is going. So it feels like I just kind of watched it, but it's done pretty well. And now on to the negatives. And the first negative is it's too light of a tone for me. I don't really feel the stakes of the movie because it focuses much more on jokes and having fun. The humor is too lighthearted. In Raiders, you laughed at Indy shooting a trained swordsman, because, like, this swordsman is just showing off, like, oh, he's very skilled with a sword, and then Indiana Jones just pulls out a gun and shoots him. That's funny, and that's, like, a little darkly comedic. Here, you laugh at a guy using a stamp, and then India's hitting the floor with a metal pole. So, I don't really find that funny. Or Indiana doing a Scottish accent that's supposed to be funny. It's almost like it was forced, and the comedy is a little too childish. So, I don't really find this movie that funny. I find Raiders of the Lost Ark to be a much more funny film than this film, or at least a film that I laugh more at. So, comedy, I don't really laugh in this one. Another negative is I really can't tell you who the villains are off the top of my head. I actually remember Tote and Mola Ram from the other two, but I have to look up who the villains are. Except for Elsa to a degree, but that's because she's a twist villain. It's a twist. So Colonel Vogel is the villain in this movie, and he's just another Nazi. He's just another Nazi, just like the other guys in Raiders. And no one else really stands out on the villain side. So, villains, whatever villain you're talking about, they're not really that memorable. They're not really that scary. And so, villains, not that good. And the last negative, and quite honestly, this shouldn't ruin the film. And it doesn't ruin the film, but it's something I thought I should mention because it's never stuck with me quite right every single time I watch it. But I don't like it that it's canon that Indiana named himself after his dog. Again, it's a really weird negative to say, but it's supposed to be this sweet moment, but I think I don't like it because it's degrading when Solemn makes fun of Indiana for it, because like he says like you're named after a dog or the dog or whatever, and like Indiana Jones, Indiana is such a cool name, but it makes it not that cool when it's just he's named after a dog, even if it was like he named it because he loved his dog. For whatever reason, I have never liked that. And I guess I don't really know why, but I think it's just I think it's because Solemn makes fun of Indiana Jones for that, and that he named himself after just a dog. I think so. I've never liked that. You know, that's a weird small negative to point out, but I thought I should just point it out that like I've never liked that. So, in the end, that's it for negatives. In the end, it's complicated. This is a good movie, and a lot of people love this one, but I really don't love this one. It's not as intense for me like Raiders and Temple of Doom are. And, you know, it always depends. I'd say it's whatever you gravitate towards more from Raiders. Like, did you gravitate toward more the comedy in Raiders? You probably like this more. If you gravitated more towards the action in Raiders, you probably like Temple of Doom more. To me, I gravitated more towards the action in Raiders and also Temple of Doom. So this one, I don't love it, but I do think it is a good movie, and it's a satisfying movie if this was the final chapter. So, good movie, not one of my favorites. So that's my review on Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade. Thanks for watching.